initial beginning, because I feel like we're getting into it, but
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
like,
Okay. Oh my God.
oh my God, we're gonna go live. Okay. Ah! This is what we do. Okay, this is what I do when I'm around
Okay.
Kate Eckman. This is like,
You have to shake it out. You got to move the energy. There's so much coming up. I'm so extroverted. I got to move it out. I got to move it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, a person. She's not even here, but she's on the screen. And that is enough to send me into overdrive. Oh my gosh, another human, someone to interact with. The golden retriever puppy is ready to play.
yes, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for bringing all this energy. Kate Eckman, you are amazing and you're here. And you wrote a book and it's called The Full Spirit Workout. And that's really exciting. We're going to talk more about that. And I want to start out by talking about dance, and more specifically, why don't you dance, or why didn't you dance prior to everything that went down, which we'll get into as well.
You know, I like to do things like most people that I'm good at or feel confident doing or feel accomplished at, because those things in itself need up care and upkeep, and you have to practice and work at it. And so in my mind, I'm this beautiful dancer. I'm like dancing back up for J-Lo and Usher and Britney Spears and I can move like that. And that's what I look like. And that's just not the reality. And so I think part of it too, and I think when I think of dancers, I think more of someone like you or like a Britney Spears. I'm 5'10" and like curvy, and I'm not this petite with the perfect little dancer body moving around. And it's actually one of your colleagues, who happens to be named Kate, who really gave me that freedom in my body, because she is not that size. She's a curvy woman like myself. She's taller. And I watched how effortlessly she moved at your book launch party. And it gave me a lot of freedom. And I think that's why it's so important that we show up in our craft, whatever it is, whether we're great at it or not so great, because you never know who you're inspiring or someone you're giving permission to show up and do the thing, whatever that thing is. And so I even felt like it's my duty to put myself out there and really practice what I preach. But I think that's what it is with dance classes. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to feel so incredibly uncomfortable. And vulnerability I can do, but more like emotional vulnerability as opposed to like physical vulnerability, especially as someone, I had a 17-year competitive swimming career and an athletic scholarship to Penn State, one of the best athletic academic schools in the world. And it's kind of like my inner athlete was like, girl, just go to a pool and like show people your competence there. So, anyway, I think it's a testament to, we judge ourselves, and because we judge ourselves, we worry that others judge us too. But really, people are just so concerned about looking good themselves that they kind of don't really care what we're doing.
Very true. Very true. And I think coming from, like, you came from the competitive swimming world, I came from the competitive ballet world. There's a certain training that goes into your mindset around perfection and nailing the technique, and I'm not going to do it if I'm not going to be the best. And then when it comes to like doing a different sport or dance or whatever it might be, then it's like we're bringing all that baggage, even though it's a different element. And it's like, well, why am I putting my pressure on myself to be a great dancer if this is my first time doing it? But yet it's like, no, you have to be, and you have to fit into this thing. And it's like, I don't know, there's almost like this like training in our mind that goes on.
Yeah. And even as you say it, it's kind of like ick. And you are actually bringing me back, to your dance immersion that I signed up for last February. But I want to back up to even before that, because I'd actually like to hear your definition. But I'll just back up and say that you and I did this speaking event called Fearless Communicators, where the two of us and three other women put together, or maybe four other women, one of them wasn't there the final night, put together this, 15-minute talk in front of an audience, and we had to do it in 5 days. And we all talked about very vulnerable personal stories. And I remember day 3 into it, texting our friend Allison Davis, and I sent her a voice text, and her response to my voice text was, "Are you okay? You sound like you're trapped in a basement and need assistance." I said, "Well, I'm not trapped in a basement, but I do need assistance." I just felt like ripped wide open, naked and raw for everybody to see.
Yes.
And it was so uncomfortable. But at the end of that, I don't know if you remember, we were on a Zoom call with our group and our fearless leader, Eduardo, and he had me check in, and I said, "You know what? After that, I can do anything." And
Mhm.
so I was in that space when you sent me a note that said, "Hey, do you want to do a dance class with me?" Where in the past, "Oh, no, thanks. I'll come watch you. How about that? I'll be DJ." But I was in my fearless space of, I can do anything. So I'm like, "Sure, I'll do dance class." And I'm like, I'm not sure that she knows like just how bad I am, or how this is not my thing. I'm athletic in water, or I can lift weights or do TRX. So, but the first thing that you said to me is, let's start with failure. And I just laughed out loud. And I'd love for you to actually tell everyone what you meant by that.
Yes. Well, yeah, the stepping into the studio, the dance studio, let's just say, right? It could be any studio, it could be a blank page, it could be a blank canvas. But I think that moment of starting something from nothing is really intimidating. And for me, because I come from this world of like perfectionism with the ballet training and all of that, and just being a human in this world and part of the patriarchy, all that kind of stuff that like puts that in our head. Um, when I say let's start with failure, it's because it's like, give yourself, like, I like to give myself permission to mess it up from the beginning. Like, I know that if I'm putting pressure on myself to like do something great from the moment I start, I'm never going to do anything because I'm going to be frozen, like worried that like, it reminds me of that analogy that goes around a lot in creative spaces. And I don't know who it's attributed to, but when you haven't turned a faucet on in a long time, right? And you have to turn it on and you have to let the brown water flow for a while until the clean water starts to come. Opening up our creative channels in whatever capacity is like that. It's like there's going to be gunk, there's going to be brown water, there's going to be just like crap. Like, when I do writing stuff, this happens all the time too. It's like I'm going to write a bunch of crap, and then like something good will probably come the more I just keep writing and showing up. But it's that like, if you start by saying like, yeah, cool, great, I'm in my brown water right now, I'm just gonna like dance my brown water, I'm just gonna like totally mess it up. there I think there's a freedom that comes from that, where you're just giving yourself that permission, and it can like slowly dim the perfectionist voice in your head. What was your experience with it like?
Yeah, I love that. That's so beautiful. And I love that I wrote about this in the book. And I can't wait for everyone to read this, and everyone who knows you to read this, and just having your name there. You have such a great name, Jess Grippo, and my dance teacher, Jess Grippo. But let me first start by saying it's hysterical I have a dance coach, because I am not a dancer. But
I love
I
that
think,
line, by the way. It's so great.
you know me, I have to keep it so real. And I think there's so many beautiful things happening here. One, what's beautiful about that is we live in a world, and I say this and I recognize it because I've been that person, right? But like, we're all pretending, right? Excuse me. We're all pretending to have it all together, present the quote unquote perfect, beautiful package, which I've been trained to do as a model and TV presenter. And it's just look the part, right? Even as a kid, it's like presentation was so important in my family. And what's so liberating about dance class is that it is the ultimate rebellion against my inner perfectionist and the part of me that's obsessed with performance. It goes out the window. As I said in the book, it goes out the window of that Tribeca basement and dance studio, like out it goes, because it just has no place here. And I think what's so beautiful about that is that it's not about impressing anyone in class. It's not about being the best. It's about being willing to show up and not be great yet or ever, or ever. And as I like to say, just dare to suck. And that builds so much confidence. I do so much work in confidence. I did a whole research paper at Columbia about confidence. And first of all, the word confidence stems from the words to trust, to do something with trust. And I just think that's so beautiful. And when you're just willing to show up and do it, you build that confidence. Again, not because you are like summa cum laude at Harvard, not because you're on tour with J-Lo, not because you make $6.2 million a year. It's just, you showed up and you did it. So it's no longer that question of, can I do this? Or who am I to do it? It's like, you just did it. The end. So I love that. Even as I'm talking, I'm just feeling this thing to move it out. And that's what dance does too, right? You're moving energy throughout your body. You're moving it out. And with me, with all this hair, who, with my profession, always had to be so perfect in every way, and to just be messy and raw and
Yes.
it's just like, in that moment, I became a dancer.
Yes, you did. You did. And in chapter 4, which is the chapter where you talk about the stuff, I loved, that really stood out to me when you talk about your hair, and how that moment when you like just let it go and messed up your hair, and I remember, like, I have this, I love that, I got the chills right now. I have this beautiful visual of you in that Tribeca basement studio when you got up and did your dance, and you let it go. And it was in that, like, and it's like, sure, have you studied dance for years and have like this kind of technique? No, but you dance. Like, I have to tell you, like, you are a great dancer when you're in that flow and you're just letting it go. Because what I felt like, I could see the whatever that perfectionist thing is that we learn, like, I could see that leaving your body, and I could see you and the feelings that were inside, and the right, and that song that you chose, Numb, of like that, just moving out of the numbness, and being like, no, like, I am a feeling human being, and it's just, and like that, to me, that's everything. Like, it's just so powerful, and it's freeing for you to do, and it's freeing for other people to watch. And yeah, more of that, please. It's
Thank
powerful.
you for that. I think we suppress so many emotions, or we eat them away, or drink them away, or shop them away, or whatever we do away. Those are some of mine. But um, it's so important to just, you feel it, and you become it, and then these things lose their power over you, whether it's anxiety or insecurity or not feeling good enough, or I'm too old, I'm too big, I'm too this, I'm too that, whatever society has told us that is just a bold-faced lie, but that we have subscribed to and bought into, and just releasing that and really creating a new story for yourself. I am a dancer. I can do really challenging things that feel uncomfortable and embarrassing. I can show up and have fun, and that is success to me. So it's redefining success in the process, redefining beauty, redefining achievement. And I just got saw the word liberating in all caps, and that is that experience for me. And even just talking about it, I'm feeling so much freedom in my body, and less pressure, and even, doing so much press for the book, and it's all virtual, and showing up and praying technology works and all the things work. And it's just, and even like wanting to look the part. And it's like right now I have no makeup on. I'm just like, we're talking about dance. I'm going to, I don't need makeup on for dance. And just, I think just being more real with ourselves. And that's been such an important spiritual vitamin this past year, is to really go within and find that quiet time to reflect, and to find out, discover or rediscover who we really are and what we really want. Not what our parents say, not what society says, not what everyone else around us is doing, but what we really want, and what's going to energize and uplift us. And I just invite everyone to spend some time there, whether it's quietly at home by yourself. Dance class is a perfect, even your virtual dance class is a perfect time to just let go and let it be. And whatever comes out is perfect and amazing.
Yes. Yes. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit more, because as someone who had such an extroverted career, like you are on camera, you're speaking, you're, always out there, to then go through this last year of being forced to be home. And I remember checking in with you at different points throughout the pandemic, and you were just like, I'm writing my book. I'm just knocking it out. I am not doing anything. I am not getting out of my pajamas. I'm staying here. I'm staying put. And I'm just like writing. And what you just shared about that, of like the getting real with ourselves and what we want and not what we think we should do. So I'm curious, like, how was that experience for you as a creative being? Like, what was it like to go from all of the outwardness to the inwardness, and what came through for you during that time?
That's a great question. And I'm going back to, because it's so crazy, Jess. I mean, a year ago this time, I was in the Berkshires at this house that I rented on the water. It was so beautiful. I did all this before COVID, but then it was isolation on top of isolation, writing this book and just churning out a lot. I wrote a lot in those 2 weeks because it was, you spent all this money on this house. You can't do anything anyway. So just focus and just really going for it. But I think being gentle with myself too, I find forcing it is never a good look. It's more about exploring. And I would work and work and work and really allow myself to be channeled and in the flow. And then when I just felt I'm done, that's all I have for today, allowing myself to go on the walk, fix myself a nutritious, delicious dinner, maybe put on a Netflix show or something, or just, I felt like this past year, I can't even really watch that much Netflix. I've got so much percolating in my mind that there's so much to process, as you know. So I think allowing myself to process, but just be in the flow. And I think you get in the flow when you don't try to edit, when you don't try to impress, when you don't think, will people like this, when you just tell it how it is. And I think that's my advice to anyone maybe feeling stuck. First, to remind you that if you're feeling stuck, if you're in a place of self-doubt, you've just forgotten who you are. You've fallen asleep to the truth of who you are, which is you are this powerful, magnificent being who has everything it takes on the inside. You just have to come back home and really strengthen those attitudinal muscles and be in that remembrance. And the quickest way to get there is to shut it all down. I know it's scary for people. Get rid of the distractions and just really check in with yourself. How am I doing?
Mm.
What do you need? And I think spending so much time in there, it just flows out. And I think that's what a lot of emotions are coming up because a lot of the stories in the book, nobody knows. Maybe one or two, three people know. It's just a lot of vulnerability and sharing things that I don't share for one reason or another with a lot of people, and just putting it all out there and being in a place where I truly don't care if you like it. I hope you do. I hope it serves you. I hope it resonates, but I've read it. I've worked on it. I've worked so hard on it. It's been the most challenging work of my life, most important. But even just recording the audiobook, I just thought, wow, this is really good. And I've never been able to say something like that to myself because it's always critical. And there's that little part of me, that part of your ego that doesn't want to die, that's like, well, it could be even better. And I'm like, it really couldn't. Like, this is perfect. Not because it's like the best thing ever written, but it is just it's set in the perfect way for the time and honoring that. And I think the whole book, I mean, I just got the copies, my 100 copies from the publisher got sent to me, excuse me, 2 days ago, and opening the box and seeing my book in the flesh and my name and all of it, when a year ago I had just started writing it. It's surreal. It still hasn't hit me. And it's a testament to, we can do absolutely anything that we decide is important enough.
Oh my God, I have chills all over. Yes. And I think it's like we can do anything. And what I'm hearing and being reminded of is that to we have to be willing to suck at something. We have to be willing to give ourselves space and time. We have to be willing to like go inwards a bit and reconnect to who we are. That was another thing that gave me chills when you said it. Like, just, you have to remember who you are. And like that, because it doesn't seem like it at the time when you're sitting alone in your room writing the thing, like like in a year from now, like, Could you ever have like thought you would be, opening that box and just being like, oh my God, like this is happening? And it's like, we don't know what's possible, but we have to take one step at a time. We have to start with failure. We have to let ourselves be messy. We have to let the brown water flow. We have to like do all these things without jumping to the editing yet, because that also blocks the flow. And it's like one step at a time, as cheesy as that sounds. It's like it builds and things open up. And it's like I have a friend, one of my best friends, who's she has a book agent right now. She has this, like, I mean, I can't give it away or say anything about it, but she has this incredible book idea that's both personal, it combines her personal and professional life. She's looking, this agent has been pitching the book and no one has picked it up yet. And she got this message from like a spiritual advisor of hers to be like, do not stop writing the book. The act of writing the book is opening up your fifth chakra. It's connecting you to certain guides. It's like the act of writing, even though it makes no logical sense right now, it's going to open up connections that you need, that's going to get this book published. So like, and I was like, I was like, that's everything, right? It's like trusting in the creative process and the voice and whatever it is, because it's like, it's not even us coming up with it, it's what wants to be spoken through us. And we are the creative channels. Like, we're just like, okay, so like how can I open up, what needs to come through me today, and trusting that that's enough.
Oh, I love that. And so much came up as you were talking from my experience, because what I say too is, people see the end result, right? They see the book, or when I was a model, they would see me in the magazine. It's like, I want to do that. And I remember saying to people, no, you don't. I know you. You can't handle like a boy not calling you back for 3 days. You want to be in the magazine? You get rejected every day. People pick you apart every day. You are told you are too something every day. You don't want to be a model. And I know you want the end result of like, look, I'm in a magazine. It's such an afterthought of what it means to be a model. And same with the book. You get the book. Nobody sees all the times I'm crying. Nobody sees the times where I'm like, this is so hard. Whatever stage of the game that was, whether it is being rejected by a publisher at the 11th hour, whether it is the editing process is hard, back and forth. It is so much work. And you think you're done and you've got 20 more steps, but it's, it's fine tuning your instrument, which is your book. It's making it better. So, it's great and it's exciting. But there were moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could have said it better, I would have said it better. How do I say this better? And then you get sick of yourself, and it's your story. And it's just, and then there's just everything else going on in the world, personally, professionally, pandemic, racial, political, where your head is spinning and you just think, oh my gosh. And that's when you have to consciously step away and take a break. But, I tell this story in the book that it's one of my, I don't want to, label my children, my chapters as favorites, but it is one of my favorite moments in the book where I talk about being rejected, and hearing my agent sounding just as deflated as I felt. It had been my second one in a month. We both thought these were like, one of these was a done deal. And I remember being in my apartment and just like looking up at God and my angels, like, you know what? You put this assignment in my heart. I'm doing this for you. Quite frankly, I don't have time to write a book, and my life is full and fabulous as it is. If you want this to happen, you figure it out. I'm done. It was like, man. And I went, went to my favorite Italian place in Edgewater, New Jersey, where everyone knows my name. I walk in, I get the hugs. They bring me what I always order. And I was sitting there and I just had some choice words for God. So I was open to hearing some responses. And I heard that divine download, voice, intuitive hit, whatever you want to call it, that said, being okay if it happens and okay if it doesn't is a very powerful place to be. And I was like, wow. And for the first time, I understood that not just intellectually, but I felt it in my body and in my bones. I understood it spiritually in my soul. And I thought, yeah. And then I thought about my mother, who couldn't get pregnant for nearly 8 years. And when I asked her how she finally got pregnant with my brother, John, who's just a year older, she said, I gave up. And she didn't mean she threw in the towel. She meant she gave it up to God. She gave it up to a higher power. She surrendered. And she got pregnant with my brother about a month later, and she had a healthy boy and girl and 2 years. And I think of that story because it's quite literally how and why I am alive. And so it is a practice. A lot of people don't like practice. They want it now. I get it. We want what we want and we want it right now. But there is such a beautiful part of it, which is trusting the process, believing in divine timing, doing all your work. You're not sitting at home eating bonbons like your friend. You're doing the writing. I was putting in the work. And then at some point, you have to take your hands off the wheel and just sit back. And that's how I was. And it was great. I was having my margarita pizza and my Montepulciano red wine. There was the nice breeze. It was a beautiful fall day. I heard those words. I felt it. And I kid you not, Jess, weeks later, I was on the phone with my agent and my now publisher. And it happened that fast after a year of back and forth and around the bends and rejection. And so this stuff works. It's like going to the gym. It works if you do. You can't show up in your cute little outfit and stand there and have your personal trainer tell you what to do and expect your personal trainer to do your sit-ups and pull-ups and push-ups for you. You have to do your sit-ups. You have to do it. We all know that. We all know that. But then when it comes to our spiritual fitness, we're like, yeah, I know that, but like, why is my thing not here? I've been at this a week already. And so it sounds so absurd, but I love that practice. I love that. And I have to do it because then it's like, I've got this down when it comes to business and career. So now I have to be like, all right, you have to put this in practice when it comes to your love life or this other business venture or whatever. But I think the great news is that I have the template for it. I know it works. I am the proof. And so now it's, again, that practice, which is one of my 5 P's of confidence, is putting that into practice to attract these other things. And knowing that when you're overlooked or rejected, those people or situations aren't meant to be in your life. And you are leaving open the space for the things that are right for you, that can't miss you. So I can't stress that enough because I think we're all a bit impatient and we're all a bit stressed out and we want our thing and we want it now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Especially when it's like the world is ending. I need to do my purpose. It's like happening now. Oh yes. Thank you. Because I definitely needed to hear that again. And I think your book is coming at such a perfect time because, like you said, it's like that spiritual practice, just like we would work out our bodies. It's working out those muscles of all of it, the practice, the trust, the confidence. um so I'm so excited. I can't wait for everyone to get your book. Is there anything else where, I mean, we'll link to the book and all of that. Is there anything else anywhere people can find you right now?
Yes, I am at kateeckman.tv and it's ECKMAN and Kate Eckman everywhere on social. And I'd love to connect with all of you there and be a part of this self-discovery journey and really just have some fun. I think that's what we all forget too, is that yes, this is work, but it's fun. So it's like the fun gym class that you always go to. It's not 2000 burpees and you hate it and you never go to class again. It's like your dance classes. We're moving, we're having fun, we're learning about ourselves. We're getting uncomfortable, but really breaking through that. And so I think when you're feeling stuck too, or when you think I should be further along, or I haven't achieved this success, or whatever it is just ask yourself 2 things. Did I do my best? Did I have fun? And if you say yes to both of those questions, then you are a success and you will continue to attract the right opportunities and experiences. And so rather than forcing something or trying to get this or have that, it's more about being the people who naturally attract our desires and being the people who can actually achieve our cherished goals.
Yes. Amen. Hallelujah to that. Yes. That's loud. Thank you so much, Kate. This is such a great conversation.
It's so fun being here with you. I love you. And thank you for all the important work that you're doing in the world. Keep dancing, keep working it out, sister. I thank you for raising the whole vibe here.
Thank you so much. Well, I love you too. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yay. Bye, everyone.